some of the cloud cover in at times. We will pick the wind up at times though. Gusts that get up around 25 miles per hour. I think 30 would be our ceiling for any gusts today out of the northwest. Most of those end up in that 25 mile per hour range through the afternoon. So that's the picture for today. It's a solid day. It's above average temps. You're just going to have to deal with a pesky wind through the course of the day. That wind subsides for tomorrow. And an otherwise very similar kind of day that we see into the mid-60s, some cloud cover around. As we get into our Wednesday night, that's where we get our next chance for some showers and storms. Some of those could actually have a little bit of a punch to them. So let's start off right around midnight. Wednesday is entirely quiet. We get closer to about 2, 3 a.m. You're going to notice a couple of spotty showers and storms that start to show up here, and mostly along and east of the Missouri River with any of those. We'll keep that into our Thursday morning. 1 or 2 of these could get some strength to them before they pull off to the east about 9, 10 a.m. So as far as what we're looking at as risks with that, as we deal with that about 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. for our Thursday, not concerned about tornadoes with this. This is not a setup that's conducive for that. But we'll have to watch for maybe 1 or 2 storms that get some gusts up to 60 miles per hour and perhaps some quarter-sized hail. Again, mostly in our Iowa towns out of that one. So that's what's looking possible by the time we get into our Thursday. And when we start getting into our Thursday afternoon, we'll have cleared things out. We'll be talking about 70s for our temperatures and 80s on the way for our Friday. It will be windy on Friday. Gusts up around 40 miles per hour. That gets us to those 80s. It'll be kind of summer-like.
Gonna feel like summer on Friday. Then the weekend just really gets interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna be bouncing all over the place. So buckle up.
Okay.
I didn't see you buckle up. Okay. All right, we're buckled up. Let's talk about what it's going to be as we go from Friday into Sunday, because this is kind of a busy one with the storm system that you're seeing behind me. So we get into our Friday evening, couple of those storms that become possible to the northwest of the metro. I think the bulk of those will be outside of our area, but maybe a couple of graze places like Norfolk and West Point as we're going through the later evening hours. We get into our Saturday, a bit of a better chance for scattered showers and storms through the day. This system that's making its way in, the track of that is going to be the key to how things play out for the rest of everything we cover here. So know that that's something that's still going to come into focus over the next couple of days. So there could be some changes to what I'm talking about here, but this is what I'm thinking based on what I'm seeing right now. We have the showers and storms around, and as we get into the afternoon evening, I think if you're south of the metro, you need to watch for the possibility that a couple of these get some strength to them as we get into that time frame. And then as we get past that, I do think the better chance for strong storms lies south of our area, but we'll have to watch that for areas that are south of I-80. And then as we get into our Sunday, maybe a little bit of a window where we dry out overnight. And then we start pulling some more moisture in for Sunday. And this looks more of the kind of uncomfortable kind of day where we're in the 40s, it's windy, it's soggy, and yeah, that's blue indicating some snow off into central Nebraska. Some models try to do this and make it more of a mixture of rain and snow, or even a full change to snow west of the metro. Like yesterday, I'm showing you the worst case scenario of what we could be looking at, and that's into the afternoon and evening Sunday. If this did happen, this would melt pretty quickly on our Sunday, but it's worth noting that that's a possibility that we end up with some mixing happening as we get late Sunday. So first alert to that. Here's the full scope of what's going on. Pretty quiet the next couple days. Breezy today, 60s for highs, 60s again for our day tomorrow. That overnight chance for a couple thunder showers into our Thursday morning. We clear out, warm up into Thursday and Friday. There's the wind that I mentioned, and then we get that busy pattern there for the weekend with some of those storms around. Watch Sunday with the cooler weather and that snow potential. We get toward the end of the 10-day forecast here. You are going to notice that temperatures are going to stabilize, but it's still unsettled. We got a number of chances for some precip that are in the forecast, and this is just what happens when you start to turn that calendar into April. You get April showers.
And maybe snow showers.
No, that was a
You said that.
All right. In the meantime, let's get a first look on traffic. We're talking about the JFK.
Yeah, this is where we've had some slowing that's been happening northbound in the early going. So let's check back in on what's happening with that. This was as you were in the approach to the Gilmore Bridge, and we have seen some small improvements. Still a little slow though through this stretch. No word on what has been causing this. Not a crash as far as I've seen, but you want to watch watch the area for some of those delays that'll be possible. Also seeing some delays on Missouri Avenue as you're approaching 13th heading eastbound. Watch for that stretch as well. This camera view shows you another area where delays have been in play, and this is as you're going from westbound I-80 to exit to 144th. We've had this happen a few times in the last week or so where traffic just bottlenecks up as it goes to exit, and you get big delays from the ramp that start to spill onto the interstate proper. So there's what you're seeing. You can see the oranges and yellows, and that's particularly in the right-hand side. So stay left if you're going through this area, and you should get through in okay shape. If you're trying to exit, that's where you run into some of those bigger problems. We zoom things out. You can see that Dodge, a couple of intersections, 72nd, 90th, a lot of traffic. That's going to slow you down in those spots. Mostly moving along pretty well. We actually have some varying lane closures on I-480 as you're getting pretty close to 14th or so in both directions. So watch for that. That's that yellow speck you're seeing right there. Otherwise, just a lot of construction that's in play across the area. We've got a big list of those. That's listed on our traffic blog on firstalert6.com. Check those out, and that includes some areas around the airport that you're traveling on, Q Street. So some heavily used routes. Check those out.
All right, Jared, thank you. We'll let you rest now. All right, we do have more progress being made in the recovery from last Wednesday's blizzard. So we are taking a live look right now at the OPPD power outage map. Less than 2,500 customers are still without power.
OPPD says they are replacing at least 1,200 poles throughout their service area. Now, to put that in perspective, 440 poles were replaced after last July's brutal windstorm that knocked out the power for more than 220,000 people.
I've lived here for 20-something years now, and I've never seen anything like it. The down power lines, just poles split in half, crazy.
Now, this most recent storm peaked at 106,000 customers without power. So yes, a lot of progress. That marks, though, the 5th largest power outage in OPPD history. The storm led Governor Pillen to declare a state of emergency for more than 20 Nebraska counties. The man accused of killing a Council Bluffs woman 9 years ago is finally in front of a judge in Omaha. That judge ordered a $100 million bond for 28-year-old Eswin Mejia. Mejia was extradited to the U.S. from Honduras last week. Investigators allege Mejia, an undocumented immigrant, crashed into Sarah Root while drunk and street racing.
Well, back in 2016, Mejia posted a $5,000 bond, then fled the country. The case garnered some national attention. Earlier this year, a bill in Root's honor passed in Congress. That new law means Mejia would not be released, even if he were to come up with $10 million of bail money. If convicted, Mejia could face up to 20 years in prison. His next appearance in court is set for April 29th.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Now to the safety desk. I'm here with Maria Cade. We all know sleep is so important. This is one of my favorite topics, but it really is especially important for children and teenagers.
Absolutely. You can't get enough of it at that age. Sometimes it's hard, but it really plays a big role in their growth and their development. But a lot of kids have problems, getting to sleep, especially in a timely manner. So around 35% of parents reported to the CDC that their child sleeps less than what is recommended for their age. Now, sleep sets the stage for the kind of day that their kid will have. Experts say it affects school performance and how they also engage with others. Now, kids who don't get enough sleep are at an increased risk for injuries, poor mental health, and poor cognitive development.
I think the other thing I would say is that if a child does wake up in the middle of the night with some kind of sleep disturbance, it's really important for parents to respond calmly, because that will help their child fall back asleep more quickly.
Now, when it comes to sleep, experts say, of course, that consistency is really key. Kids should have that consistent bedtime and wake-up time. And they say even on the weekends, too, just to make sure they're staying in that routine.
Yeah, that really helps. Got to make the effort anyway. All right, going to a younger age group now. We've all heard about our baby memories, whether it was the parent telling us, and those are always interesting.
I know we always hear about it, but we never are actually the ones to remember it ourselves. So there's a new study that's focusing on this, and they say babies as young as 1 year old may be able to form memories, but again, they just can't remember them. So babies were put into an MRI machine, and they were shown a series of pictures, ones that they had seen before and others that were pretty new. So the researchers say that if they focus longer on an image, that means they recognized it, showing a memory recall. And if the baby showed that they didn't focus on that picture, that meant that their memory was less developed. So the researchers found babies over a year old had a hippocampus that was more active, and also memory encoding was stronger for those babies as well. Now they're working on some more research to find out why they're not exactly remembering those memories. So we know that they can have them, just don't know why.
That's very interesting studies. All right, Maria Kane from the Safety Desk as always, thank you, and we'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. 7:15 now on this Tuesday morning. Taking a live look outside. Sun coming up on this Tuesday morning. This is a live look overlooking the downtown Omaha skyline. Can you believe we're already ending March? It's going to be over by next week. And as we get into April, we're starting to feel more spring-esque, more spring-like. And with that comes more spring storms.
Yeah, that's something we'll be eyeing as we get into the next couple of days. We're going to be seeing some more chances for that. So the quiet weather out there today is a good opportunity to start thinking about your mindset, your plans as far as what you're going to do when we have storm chances, which we have later this week. We'll talk about that in a bit. 31 is where we stand, pretty quiet out the door. And as we make our way through the day, we'll go from those 30s and end up into the mid 60s for our highs. Very seasonal, just a little bit above average. We'll be in and out of the clouds as our day goes on, so be prepared for that, and some gusts alongside this. They get up around 25 miles per hour. Tomorrow is kind of the same thing, but instead of having the wind, you're going to be looking at a quieter wind, and going to be looking at temperatures, the same ballpark. You're going to be looking at varying cloud cover through the day as well. So there's the overall picture the next few days. We do get that chance for a couple of spotty showers and storms, especially if you're in some of our Iowa towns as we get late Wednesday night into our Thursday. So there you can see those bubble up. True, especially east of the Missouri River, 3 to 9 a.m. is our peak window to get some of those to move their way through the area. And one or two that maybe have some hail or gusty winds with this. This is a very low level risk for severe weather, but it's a good time to practice those severe weather strategies that you're going to be using as we go deeper into the spring and get events that have higher risk with them. Also keep in mind, this is an overnight one from 3 to 9 a.m., so that could wake you up if you're in some of the Iowa towns. We get to the weekend, this is where things pick up a little bit more. 80s for our highs for Friday, gusts up to 40 miles per hour. Couple of nighttime storms northwest of the metro. We get into our Saturday, we get a better chance for some storms to roll through the area. A couple of those could get stronger, especially if you're south of I-80. And then as we get into our Sunday, things get soggy on us at that point. So here's how it all unfolds. You can see some of those storms off to the north and west. We get some of that soggy weather around as we head into our Saturday. Some of the storms that will be in place likely off to the south of the metro is where we get a chance for some strong ones. Off to the south of our area in general is where the better chance for severe weather in general is going to be, but we'll keep an eye on the track of the system and how that all unfolds. And then we get into Sunday and it's more just steady showers, rain, wind, colder temperatures, and just general unpleasantness. You thought spring was done, right? Well, there's some signs that, or you thought winter was done. some signs that we try to pull that into the equation. We'll see if this ends up being how things play out. A lot of it is dependent on the track of the storm system, but there's some indications that we try to get some snow mixing in with the rain or a full changeover as we get late Sunday. So first alert to that being something that you'll want to keep an eye on. Alongside that, let's talk about the winds a little bit. Some gusts up around 40 miles per hour for our Friday out of the southwest. We do get quieter winds on Saturday, talking about 20 mile per hour gusts or so. Then we'll turn those to the northwest as that system comes through, straight out of the north up to 40 miles per hour on our Sunday. So with falling rain at that point, that's going to be pretty unpleasant. That we'll have to deal with that being the case. So that's what the weekend's looking like. And the lead up to that, some pretty mild temperatures and generally pretty quiet weather as well, aside from that Wednesday night.
Yeah, this week doesn't look as bad, but the weekend, I was thrown off by that snow on Sunday. We have summer-like temperatures on Friday, and then the winds are back on Sunday.
Yeah, another one of those bumpy roller coaster situations as we see. This happens at times. I've seen some people ask, why is it so windy? Why are we looking at these big changes in the temperature? Well, that's just spring. You get the push and pull of having the warmer temperatures, the colder temperatures, and you get these kind of things happening. We will stabilize the temperatures more by the end of the 10-day, but you're also going to notice as you're looking through that back half of the 10-day, there's still some precip chances. It's just a generally unsettled pattern. So that could be more showers, that could be storms as well. So we'll keep an eye on that in first alert as we get closer to that, but a lot of spring on that.
For sure. All right, Jared, thank you. We do have an update to a story we have been following for a while now. Council Bluffs police arrest a man they say shot at a bar over the weekend.
This happened at the O-Face bar. Nobody was hit by gunfire, but authorities did take one person to the hospital. Police identified Tyjon Edwards as a suspect. He is now booked on several charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder. Officials say more arrests are expected. New details in a sex trafficking investigation.
That's right. 6 people tied to the case are now formally charged. Omaha police say 2 teenage girls were forced to have sex multiple times at the American near 15th and Spring. The first 3 suspects are accused of taking the teens from Colorado to Nebraska. The other 3 are hotel workers who allegedly granted free rooms in exchange for sex. And happening today, the Millard School District is preparing for a change in the way your children get to and from school. MPS will use Zoom as its student transportation provider starting next year. Omaha Public Schools already using Zoom. They started it last year. The company is hosting a job fair today and tomorrow. They're looking for to fill nearly 100 positions. The fair is at the Courtyard by Marriott La Vista off I-80 in Giles.
Also happening today, the principal killed in the Perry High School shooting will receive a national honor. Dan Marburger was shot while shielding students from that shooter. He'll be posthumously awarded the Single Act of Heroism Award at the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. The organization says that he put himself in harm's way, allowing students and staff to get out.
So brave in his final hours and minutes.
Well, coming up, a big win in a March Madness bracket challenge.
Find out more about the lucky winner and their ties to Omaha when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. For the first time in nearly 10 years, a Berkshire Hathaway employee has won the company's NCAA bracket contest.
And Warren Buffett's prize is $1 million.
Wow.
An anonymous employee from a Berkshire subsidiary correctly called 31 of the 32 first-round games. Now, the Oracle of Omaha has relaxed the rules multiple times since the competition's inception in 2016, but still.
That is impressive. Do you know how many upsets there were? And how, you know what I mean?
31 to 32.
Now
a
he's a
lot better
millionaire.
than I did. Yeah.
A lot better than my husband did, too.
All right, in the meantime, in South Carolina, a pet kangaroo is back with his family after hopping away from his pen over the weekend.
So you might think he just jumped over the fence himself, but he actually had an accomplice. So oh, he's cute. Oh, he's so cute. Okay, let me get to this. JJ the kangaroo has been with the Richardson family since he was a baby. Well, they adopted him from a petting zoo. So who was the accomplice? I know you're wondering. None other than a goat. The goat's name is Blue. This story just keeps getting better. He ended up knocking open the gate, and guess what? JJ ended up just hopping all the way to the highway.
Well, JJ is now soaking up his 15 minutes of fame. His parents are working on a plan to allow the public to come and see him, as well as the rest of the animals on their property. So is this news often in Australia, I guess, just interviewing kangaroos?
Well, this is South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina? Oh, okay, gotcha. How funny.
I know. You saw Blue there at the end, too.
Yeah, I thought for a second the accomplice was going to be that fun dog that ran up to the camera, but apparently it's an instant bystander in this whole thing.
They tricked you.
Crazy.
Oh, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get ready for our update in the Today Show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air.
All right, have a good start to your Tuesday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. Let's get a check on today's traffic. A new crash for Jared to tell you about.
And it's at 120th and Giles, so watch for delays in this area. You can see how westbound traffic really being impacted in general. This is an area where a lot of people are trying to drive through, so be prepared for some delays. Maybe try to avoid this area if possible. Elsewhere, the JFK has had some occasional delays right around the Gilmore Bridge. It's looking a little bit better at this point. And then I-80, where we had some delays trying to exit to 144th, also showing signs of improvement. There you can see, though, the JFK from about I-80 to just about the Gilmore Bridge is now backing up. So watch for that as you're heading northbound. Watch for some eastbound delays on 370 approaching I-80. You're heading out the door. You're seeing some temperatures that are sitting in the 30s at this point, 31 to be exact. Nice sunrise that we have in place. Watch for maybe some sun glare for some of our eastbound drivers. Not much in the way of wind, so it feels pretty close to that actual actual temperature of 31. What you'll notice through the course of the day today, a couple of things. We'll have a varying cloud cover throughout the day, sometimes more on the sunny side, more clouds at other points. That's not going to prevent us from getting to 65 for a high, though. It'll be a very mild afternoon. We will have some wind, though. Gusts up around 25 miles per hour at their peak, maybe hitting 30 miles per hour out of the northwest. So a little on the breezy side. Similar day tomorrow with a little less wind involved. A couple of scattered storms possible after midnight for our Wednesday night, especially east of the Missouri River. One or two of those could get some strength to them, and then a little wild ride for the weekend. 80s for Friday, 40s for highs on Sunday, and some storm potential in between.
Joe, thanks. An update to a story we have been following. Council Bluffs police arrested a man they say shot at a bar over the weekend. This happened at the O-Face bar. Nobody was hit by gunfire. Authorities did take one person to the hospital. Police have now identified Tyjon Edwards as a suspect. He is now booked on several charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder. Officials say more arrests are expected.
All right, it is 7:28. We're back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then.